Don't stop.
Hi, thanks for joining me in the Everything and Anything in a Big Gay podcast. I'm Zach Randles-Friedman, and I'm going to tell you about an amazing guest that I have today because I love him. But before I get into that, I wanted to tell you that I'm only a few weeks away from going to Provincetown, and I'm so excited, but I am doing my typical Provincetown bullshit that I always do. And you know what that is? It's almost the end of summer, so I don't need any clothes or shoes or anything because I have so much shit that I didn't even, I got all my summer clothes out, and there's all these shirts that I put in my closet, hung up in my closet in May. And you know what? It's now August, and I still have not worn probably 75% of them. I end up wearing the same 10 t-shirts every week. But you know what I did? I did it today. I had an appointment, and I was sitting in a waiting room, and I'm like, let me look through my phone. And I started ordering shit. I have so many pairs of linen pants that I have never, ever once wore. But as I'm going shopping online, and fucking Instagram ads get me. They get me they know what I like, and Alex Crane is a designer, not super expensive. But his ads come up, and the way that they show these clothes on those ads on Instagram, I'm like, gotta look. And there was a pair of these linen pants, and I just love the way they look, and they're so cute, and they feel unique, even though they're not, because I probably have them in my closet already and don't even realize it. But I end up buying them, and then it's like, oh, if you spend another $86, you can get free shipping. Like, I needed free shipping. Yeah, so I did that, and then I ended up spending probably another $186. And now I've got 2 shirts, and a pair of linen pants that I may or may not ever wear. I literally have 6 pairs of linen pants that are in my closet that I pulled out in May from my summer stash that had price tags on them because I've never wore them. And I don't even really know if I like linen pants. I had this pair of white linen pants that I got in New York at a place called Century 21. So Century 21, for people that aren't from New York or that's never been there, it's basically a place, I don't think it went out of business and now it's back, but I don't think it's as good. But it's a place that used to have like things that were from last season, like Dolce & Gabbana. I got this Dolce & Gabbana coat from there one time, like full length wool coat. I got it for like $500. It was normally probably like $3,500 or something back then. Still have it. It's probably considered vintage now, and I love it. But during that same time, like you could get, they never had good shoes there, but you'd always get some good pants. Anyway, my point is that I got this pair of white linen Dolce & Gabbana pants that I had from there. They actually still fit, but I have not worn them one time. And I've had these probably for 20 years, maybe 18 years. And you know why I haven't worn them? Because I don't have white underwear. All my underwear is like black and gray and some colored underwear, but I don't have white underwear. And you can't wear colored underwear, black underwear especially, with white linen pants because you can see right through them. So I need to buy myself some white underwear. I don't know why I don't have white underwear. I just don't like white underwear. I think but I should have a few on hand. So that's what I'll do. That'll be my next shopping adventure. Let's get into Nathan, because Nathan I really like. His vibe is so good. He is the founder and CEO, and it's not just a hair product company. He actually did research and development. So me coming from the pharmaceutical communications world, I know how important it is to do R&D. Because if you look at all this shit that you buy over the counter, a lot of these hair care products, it's shit. Like there's been no testing. You don't even know what half the shit in there is. He knows what's in his product. Go to his website. The link is in the description of this video. But he's got some really good stuff that's going to repair hair. And I watched his videos and how he does that. He's also super cute. He's super nice. He's charming. He's one of those people that I want to move to Boston so I can like hang out with him every weekend. So I'm going to try to talk him in, but he lives in LA and he's probably going to want me to move to LA. And I'm not moving to LA and he'll move to Boston maybe. I don't know. Maybe we'll be bi-coastal. Like we'll be BFFs and like fly back and forth every other weekend to hang out or whatever. So anyway, I love Nathan. I loved his hair care product. Check it out and leave me a message. Leave a rating for this podcast as well. We need more ratings. And if you haven't already subscribed and followed, please do. But send me a DM and tell me what you think about Nathan's hair care products. And follow him. I will tag him in the Instagram post and his company. And thanks for listening. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me on the Everything and Anything and a Bit Gay podcast. Today, I have a really great guest. His name is Nathan. He has been in the hair and skincare industry for a very long time, which all my listeners know that is my sweet spot. So welcome to the show, Nathan.
Thank you. So happy to be here.
So happy to have you. So we were talking just before we started, you were talking about a wedding that you went to in Northern Idaho, and you were going to kind of maybe, I think, say how great it was, maybe?
Yeah. So I was in Idaho recently for work, and then I was there last summer for a wedding. Actually, it's a funny story about the wedding because we had only met the couple once in our lives. So my husband and I got invited to a wedding after meeting the married couple in Italy for a 48-hour period one time. And we fell in love with each other so much that they invited us to their wedding. And we were crazy enough to show up. So basically, my husband and I were the only people at the wedding that had no idea anybody else. And it was our second time seeing them. But their wedding was in Montana and Idaho in the northern part. And it's like really beautiful up there.
Were they a straight or gay couple?
Straight couple, the most adorable. And now they are pregnant with child. So
maybe you'll be godparents even at this point. I mean, why not?
I hope so. I feel like we've godfathered a lot of children because we don't have our own kids ourselves. So
yeah. So I want to just ask you about that. So you're married. How long have you been married?
We've been together it's going to be 17 years in January. So 16 and a half years together. And we are not like legally married because of our choice, but we had a little ceremony, like a kind of a partnership commitment ceremony together, just the two of us in Cambodia. I think like this is going to be our 10-year anniversary of that.
Wow.
So, yeah.
And how did you meet?
We met, so this is pre-Grindr, pre-app anything. We still have never been on the apps at all to this day. So we're like really old school, but we did meet online. There was a website called Adam for Adam. I don't know if you know of it or remember it.
I think I remember it, and I'll tell you my story after you finish yours.
Yeah, so it was kind of this quasi, like it could have been a naughty site, it could have been a date site. You could kind of anything and everything because it was like HTML, internet, desktop only, right? Because there was no apps. So that's how we met, and we just kind of kept hanging out. And the G-rated professional version will stay on this podcast, but you and I can talk offline about.
And you can get however you want on this podcast. But me and my husband met on, I just moved to New York from Miami, and we met on America Online in a chat room.
Oh my God, ASL, age, sex, location, remember that?
Exactly. We were in New York City room, Men for Men room 63 or whatever it was. And we just happened to we were both living on the Upper East Side. I literally just moved to New York 3 months before. I had no desire to like meet anybody other than for a hookup. I was like, I'm just going to have fun and I'm going to meet new people. And maybe in 5 years, I'll get a boyfriend, maybe. But I'm so sick of men. And of course, whenever you think that's whenever you meet who you're supposed to be with forever. So
same with me. I mean, I met Mike when I was just turned 25 and I had just moved to West Hollywood from New York. And I was like, I don't want no man following me around. Like,
exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm a fresh like catch over here going around West Hollywood, 25 years old, like a snack, So I did not want to wife up, but sometimes it's not up to you,
That's how it goes. Whenever I opened the door, he came to my apartment and everything. It was like a real hookup. Like there was just like, it was like a Tuesday night at 11 o'clock when he came over. I'm like, yeah, come over. But I was 24, 25 too. And then I opened the door and I'm like, oh my God, this is the person I'm going to be with forever. I thought that in my head.
Wow.
And I called my friend the next day who lived in New York. And she was the only person that I was really good friends with at that time in New York. And I said, I just met the guy I'm going to be with forever. She goes, you're fucking crazy because you're not, because you moved to New York. You got a job just like that. You found an apartment in a day. She goes, you did not meet your life partner forever. I'm like, okay, I think I did. So she was
Yeah.
wrong.
I believe it. I have a friend recently, the same thing. Sometimes when it clicks, it clicks. And honestly, I had a good time in New York City when I was living there, but I was also struggling personally, professionally. I was young, didn't know what I wanted, all that stuff. And as soon as I moved to LA from New York, everything just clicked. And then that's where I met Mike and job worked. And I don't know, it just sometimes you're in the right environment, and it
Yeah.
just clicks.
I know you still in LA.
I am, but we actually moved back to New York City for a little bit because I went to take on the big Kiehl's role with L'Oreal, back in New York. So I've been kind of moving back and forth, and we still have our apartment in the city currently, but yeah, basically out here in LA.
So let's go through because I think your career is path is amazing. So like
Oh,
I kind of said this to you before, but and my listeners know this. Like I am like a skincare, health, hair, with hair, all that. Like I love all that stuff. My bathroom is like a Sephora store. I have to. I buy so much stuff that I have to send it to my friends because it's going to expire because I don't get through it.
oh my gosh. I love
And
you
every time.
already.
And every time I find something online or I like read about it, I have to go buy it and I try it. And then I'm like, oh, then something else new. And I mean, I do have my like staples things that I keep, but I just did the salmon sperm microneedling facial.
Okay. How did that
I,
work for you?
I did 3 sessions. I loved it. And I was very happy with it. And they numb you and it doesn't hurt. And
Yeah.
I just did last Thursday where they put this grounding patch on your back and then they do like these radio waves, magnetic or something. It's supposed to give you like a snatching your face up.
Okay.
It was a 2-hour thing. I paid for a second session because I did notice a difference, but it hurts.
Really?
Like it just like whenever I don't know, there's just certain parts of your face where you can like, you're like, ooh, she goes, and the woman's like, well, that's a little spicy, isn't it? I'm like, no, that fucking hurts. That's what it is. Like you're
You
burning
got
me.
me. Oh my gosh. No, I love people like us that are like really big experimenters, like want to try everything new, want to
Yeah.
see what's the tea bumblebee with everything. Because you got to make your own opinions. You can listen to all these influencers and read, magazine articles, whatever, but everything works differently for different people. So I love it.
Yeah. And like I'll try stuff. I mean, I've learned not to buy the crap off of TikTok anymore. So, because I was like, oh, that person says that they're 19, but it says that they're 49, but they're really 19. Like, I got to try that. And then, of course, it's all crap off of TikTok a
It
lot of times.
is.
So, but yeah, I mean, I've tried so many things and I've spent so much money on skincare. I mean, it's
Yeah.
ridiculous. But
But
I'm
it
happy
does
I do.
work. It
Yeah.
does work. We both look great for our age and life experiences. And I'm sure you get compliments all the time. I do too. Like it is preventative. Good products do work, So it's good to get a routine early on because over time, you'll definitely thank yourself.
Yeah, I mean, whenever I grew up in Miami and my mom would take us to the beach, even when I was in college going to the beach, like, there was baby oil being put on us. There was no SPF back then, really,
Right.
and now I'm just like, and when I went to go to a dermatology appointment one time, they're like, oh, you have so much sun damage. And I'm like, I can't see it. They're like, yeah, but we can and all this. So I lived in Dallas for a year and a half, which wasn't that fun, but I did it. They had this at this spa, they had this thing called a halo laser
Yep.
where and I did it and it's about a week and a half recovery time after it, but I went back to my dermatologist just to get my yearly checkup. I'm like, yes, I know I have the sun damage. He goes, no, actually, you have no sun damage. He goes, what did you do? I'm like, oh, I did this halo laser. He's like, yes, as long as you use SPF moving forward, you won't have sun damage again. So I always use SPF. So anyway,
So
just
smart. Well, lasers, I don't know if this, but I'm an esthetician as well. So I do a lot of chemical skin resurfacing on clients and I do,
yeah,
a lot sort of like as formal treatments, but lasers, really are the best thing. If you have a good esthetician or dermatologist and can get on a good laser program, your skin will turn around completely.
And we'll be right back. Okay, and now back to the show. So tell me about your career. Like, what got you into wanting to do skincare, hair, making hair and skin healthy? Like, tell me all about that. Like, what got you intrigued by it?
Well, ever since I was a little gay boy and I was on the swim team for most of my life, I had really damaged hair and really sun damaged skin growing up. And, with chlorinated hair and all kinds of crazy hair color experiments and,
Yeah.
stuff that I should not have been doing, I started to become fascinating with like repair and like how the skin tissue repairs itself and hair repairs itself or what you can do to repair it. And so generally, I feel like I'm a very curious person. I think it's because like I'm a hardcore Sagittarius and I just feel like, intellectual curiosity. Like if I don't understand something, I immediately want to research everything about how it works and why it works.
Yeah.
So I was always kind of very curious about like, what the resolutions were for skin and hair damage. And then it led me into, the manufacturer side of things, like how can I learn about marketing and working on the brand side. And so I went to undergrad in Connecticut. And when I was getting ready to graduate school, all of the sort of like investment banks and finance jobs and, consulting, people came to recruit from my school. And I was like, this is just like not interesting to me. And then L'Oreal came to my school to recruit for full-time jobs out of college. And I was like, oh my God, wait a second. Like I had no idea that you could make a career doing corporate marketing or product development or brand management, in the beauty industry. I guess it just didn't really cross my mind. So I was very excited that I could actually make a living working with products and in an industry that I really loved at a corporate level. So that's kind of it. I did a summer internship at L'Oreal and they extended a job offer and I started right out of undergrad and pretty much stayed there. I had a quick break where I left L'Oreal, but I ended up going back. So
Yeah, so
that's
you were senior vice president. You were working at L'Oreal, Kiehl's, Baxter of California, major brands. I mean, that's
yeah.
like something to be very proud of. But when did you realize that the industry wasn't really doing hair science right? And you're like, I got to walk away from this corporate and do it myself.
I went to hair school while I was in corporate. So I had done the sort of robotic climb up the corporate ladder thing. I was able to do it very quickly. I was successful. I knew how to play the game, whatever
Yeah.
that means. I figured out the L'Oreal corporate thing and I rose up the ladder really quickly and I loved it. But while I was in corporate, I went to hair school and I went to skin school because I really wanted to learn the technical application of skin. I really wanted to understand from a stylist, a hairstylist perspective, and from an esthetician's perspective, how they use products, what their clients face in terms of issues, because I felt that would help me be a better marketer and be a
Hmm.
better executive at like the corporate level. So when I started doing that, I realized that like the more that I worked in corporate, the more I realized that like people were just so out of touch with what the stylist wants and ultimately what the client wants, who's at this point like you, right? The normal person, the
Yeah.
average person that's going to see a technical expert for something or a technician. So, when I got really far up the ladder to CEO level positions at L'Oreal and to your point, senior vice president positions and had amazing brands I worked on. And I was kind of like, the lane here for me is just getting smaller and smaller. And I live in a world of infinite. I don't live in a world of finite. Like in my personal and my professional life, friends, romance, life experiences, I'm searching for the infinite of possibilities. And when you climb up the corporate ladder, you just continue to get fewer and fewer opportunities
Yeah.
and your lane becomes more narrowed. And so I was like, you know what? I want to jump off, do my own thing. I feel like companies are not listening to what the client wants and what the stylists want. And I feel like I can make a difference and do something new here.
And were you going to influencers and kind of figuring out what they were thinking they wanted to? So not necessarily, like avoiding corporate, but going to influencers and saying, what are you looking for?
In a sense, like I was, but the longer answer is that I really focused on the professional. So, like the advanced professional, whether it's a stylist, a dermatologist, a trichologist, an esthetician, somebody that had some level of schooling, training, technical expertise and vocation, and was successful in their business, which means obviously their clients were happy with their results if they've been able to build a business. So rather than going to, some random hairstylist out in the middle of nowhere just because the fact they have a technical training, I went to elite hairstylists that have been doing this for decades, that work on really amazing celebrities, that have, high client retention, that work at some of the fancy salons here in the US, that could test the product, could test, what I was trying to put out there, and ultimately tell me, is it interesting or not? Do people give a fuck about this? Sorry to drop the F-bomb, but do people care? And is this a problem that their clients are trying to solve for? And if the answer was yes, then I knew I had something.
And tell me about the name of the company. How did you come up with it?
So the name is called Filament. The company is Filament Sciences. And we first and foremost were an R&D company that happens to make a haircare brand called Filament. So we focus on R&D from clinical perspective of molecules in our formulations, and also consumer R&D. And then we funnel that into our product development process. So filament is the scientific definition of a strand of hair. So when you look it up, you can't define a word by its word. So you can't say hair is hair that does blank, right? So if you look up what is hair, it is a filament that protrudes from the scalp that is made up of melanin and keratin, so forth and so on. And it also is the little thing in the middle of the light bulb that actually emits the light diode, right?
Yep.
And makes it bright. So when I came across this, I was like, wait, filament, that's such a cool name. I didn't think I'd get the trademark for it, to be honest, because I thought it was just so obvious that somebody like a L'Oreal would have trademarked it somewhere down the line. And it turned out they hadn't. And I was like, this is so perfect. So that's how I got it.
I mean, it's pretty rare for someone to go off and do, maybe I'm wrong. I think it's rare for someone to go off and do a lot of R&D for a consumer product. The amount, the what you're putting into it, that's pretty remarkable, because you know exactly what's going into it. Where, I look at a lot of these, shampoos and conditioners and hairstyling products. I'm not saying none of them do this, but I don't think there's a lot of research that goes into it. I think that they're kind of putting these ingredients in a bottle, and if it smells nice and it maybe does a little moisturizer to your hair, and they maybe, do it with 100 people saying, how does this feel? And that's kind of how that's from what I see as a consumer.
You are correct.
I think what you're doing is so unique, where you're talking about the molecules, you're doing the R&D. I came from a pharmaceutical background, running corporate communications and digital for 25 years. So I get the whole R&D thing, and I understand how important it is, but it's so rare for a company for what you're doing to do that.
It is. So I'll say I spent when I took my life savings to start this business as a solo entrepreneur, as it was self-funded, when we first started for the first whole year of it, I had two choices. I could spend a lot of money on creative. Most people will go into the product development process. Yep. They'll pay a bunch of money to do the actual product development because they don't know how to do it themselves. They'll pay a creative agency to come up with the name, the branding, the website costs $15,000 to create. Next thing you know, I did all of that myself. So I designed the packaging in PowerPoint, literally myself. I designed the logo myself. I picked all the colors. I did all the product development because I knew how to do it from my corporate background. And I have a lot of connections in the industry fight, so it made my life a bit easier. But I spent less money on what most people spend when they start up, that they get excited about the visual world of it. And I put all that money into R&D, which I knew was important because, I'm in the business of creating assets for my company to own. I'm in the business of creating IP for my company to own, which gives it value and value creation. So from a very kind of corporate executive perspective, that is my obsession. And the best asset that a company can own is IP around science, around R&D, trademarks, patenting, clinical studies, clinical data, consumer data. All those things are tangible assets that create the valuation of your company, in addition to the sales, in addition to the reviews online, in addition to the Instagram followers, absolutely. But my goal is to create as many underlying scientific assets that Filament owns as possible. And that's why I started with putting my money where my mouth is, because if that's my strategic North Star for how to build this business, then my money should go toward building those assets. So that was how I thought about it. Now, a quick lesson on your comment, because I think your listeners would appreciate this in terms of how product development works with skin and hair care. You kind of have three buckets of, brands or types of product development.
Mm-hmm.
You have like speed to shelf, which
Yeah.
is all the way on one side, right? And this is where brands, including big companies that we all know, will go to contract manufacturers and labs. They'll pick up a formula that's already been developed off the shelf. It's already been safety tested.
Mm-hmm.
It's already been micro tested, stability tested. And all they do is drop in less than 2% of marketing ingredients that do not affect the testing that have already been done on the chassis or on the base. And they go to market with this. And they usually do that because it's a hyper competitive environment. Speed to market's very important. So if their competitor, like if you're Estee Lauder and your competitor L'Oreal launched something and it's on fire, you got to get to shelf. You don't have 18 months to wait.
Yeah.
And I understand that. There's definitely a strategy for that. There's no tea, no pink lemonade on doing that. But that is one way to do it. And that's the vast majority of the market. Then there are products that develop their own base formula, their own base, and they drop in actives that are created by somebody else that already have clinicals. And they can extrapolate the claims from those clinicals. Okay, so that's sort of like option 2. And then option 3 is real custom development, which is what we do. We do molecular development from scratch and we do base development from scratch, both custom. We clinically test the molecule, we clinically test the base, we drop them into each other, we make sure that they work together, and then we clinically test the finished result.
Amazing.
So that takes years.
Yes.
And a lot of money, and a lot of companies don't have years to do that. So that's kind of the difference.
So let's talk about your patented technology. So it will stay in the hair structure, if I'm reading this right or remember this right, for up to 10 weeks, which is rare.
Yeah.
Or does it even exist anywhere else?
Yeah. So the way it works is we have a molecular compound that's comprised of a number of ingredients that enter into the cortex of the hair. They're low weight molecules that enter into the cortex, past the cuticle, obviously, and they rebridge broken disulfide and broken hydrogen bonds, which basically happen during mechanical damage events, chemical services like color bleach, sun, heat tools, flat irons, blowout, things like that. And they will rebridge those broken bonds and create a glue. So it's not putting them back together because you can't scientifically do that since the hair is a dead structure. What you do is you insert like the Golden Gate Bridge or the Brooklyn Bridge, for example, in between two things that are separated, right?
Yeah.
And so we do that, and our clinicals have shown not only does it make the hair stronger than virgin hair when we insert that bridge, but it also stays in the hair and doesn't drop out. And that's where you get the life of the increased strengthening from our molecules as you use it over time.
Okay, so I want to just kind of go back to, because you bootstrapped this entire company yourself, right?
Yes.
You had to go off and do this. I mean, was there anything that you would have, and I first of all, I love the fact, because my background is communications, digital, brand. And I love the fact that you were like in PowerPoint designing things, like you really like dug in, and I just love people that like will do things like that. And I'm sure you had somebody give the final fix and everything, but you had you had an idea in your head, and it's such a awesome thing to like kind of do, in my opinion. And is there anything you would have done differently whenever you're thinking about when you first started? Because also, I think it's amazing that you totally took this company and you're like, yeah, I know I worked in corporate. I know that marketing and brand is all important, but I want to get the R&D piece right. So what would you, if anything, would you have done differently if you would have started over today?
Yeah, I mean, I guess this is like kind of obnoxious sounding, but I really wouldn't do anything differently because I just feel like, I mean, I guess I'm a kind of no regrets person in general, but I just feel like things really happen how they are meant to happen. And sometimes you're not given the answer or the future answer on something that you're unclear about until later. And you just kind of have to trust in the process and universe and God and whatever you believe in that's sort of driving this existence forward.
Yeah.
So in a lot of ways, I just think, okay, I have an idea. I want to start with something. My biggest thing, and any advice I can give to anybody, is just like, do stuff yourself. Even if you don't know how to do it or you're scared to do it, even if you're a terrible designer or a terrible chef or whatever, just try it. Just try to
I
do
agree.
it. Just try. And like,
Yeah.
if you bake the cake and the cake falls flat and it sucks and it's too salty and it doesn't have enough sugar, whatever, like you'll figure it out next time, or then you can hire a baker to make the cake for you. But like, you got to do things yourself, especially in today's world. And so many people just don't have the confidence to do that, I don't think. And, they get put out. But I don't know, like I guess there's like little things here and there commercially, like maybe agreements that I, signed with certain raw material supplier that I said, hey, maybe I would do this differently. But
Yeah.
ultimately, like I'm in the business of knowing that like you make the best decision that you can in your life with the information you have at the time.
Yeah.
And you have to trust that you made that decision and maybe it turned out differently than you thought it would, but that's all you could do. And that's the best you could do at the time.
And you launched exclusively with an amazing company, right? Violet Gray.
We did. The Violet Gray launch came a few months after our like
Okay.
.com launch. We did like a
Yes.
proof of concept because ultimately I wanted to see like, does anyone give a shit about this? Like I just spent all this money and I just spent
Yeah.
all these years doing research and product development, and I put it online and I was like, is anyone going to buy this? And so like I kind of had this like, oh shit, like 6-month proof of concept period. Then as Violet Gray and everybody else started coming to us, I realized, oh my God, like people actually care about this. The product's good. People like it. They're repeat purchasing. And so that just kind of gave me more confidence.
And I mean, I could go on Violet Gray and spend like 4 days there, and because they have so many amazing products. So has it been good for you, for your brand, to be a part of that?
Yeah, Violet Gray is such an amazing partner. I mean, from the jump, when we treated them in salon with our pro treatment, we treated their buyers and some of the people on their marketing team in salon because we're a very in-person brand. Half of our treatment cycle is done by the professionals. The other half is done as a maintenance product that you take home. And that's what you buy off our website and you buy off Violet Gray. So we treated them to like an ultra VIP filament experience. And from the minute they met me and saw the brand and saw the salons we work in and the stylists we work with, it was a bit of a lifestyle thing. It was a bit of a, the product does work. So it delivered on performance, but they were just like hooked, and we felt this marriage together that like we understood each other. Like we get their shopper gets us. And so we planned this big launch with them. They were so gracious with their time, with their creative development, with their team. They really believed in Filament and still do. And they've been so amazing to work with. And when a retailer and a brand can have such a good partnership and marriage like that, when there's a symbiotic, like kind of relationship that happens, then magic can happen. And we set all kinds of records with them for their launch and, grew to be one of their top SKUs in the whole store. So I don't know. It's been wonderful.
And we'll be right back. Okay, and now back to the show. Was there a moment that you've had since you've launched this where you've gotten that phone call, you've gotten that email, or you've gotten feedback where you're just like, this was all worth it?
Yes, several times. And
Okay.
I have to embargo some information until I come back on this podcast. But
Okay.
2027, I'm going to tell you, it's going to be buck wild for Filament with what we have coming up. And with the, stylists and celebrities and Violet Grays and everybody that's contributed to our ecosystem of people that use Filament, with all of the organic mentions and news. And we've had some really amazing press articles come out about us, like we're going to be the next $1 billion sale and all this stuff that I'm just like, pinch me, right? Within the first 6 months of launch, we've just had a lot of inbound interest and excitement, and I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah, because if you look at, is it Olaplex? They IPO'd at $15 billion. K18 sold to Unilever for over $1 billion. I mean,
Yep.
that must be exciting for a future for you. I mean, imagine IPOing at
Yeah.
$15 billion.
Yeah, I know. Like, who does that? I don't know. Like, I feel like maybe this will be a unicorn. Maybe it'll be, great, whatever. I think regardless of what happens, I do think Filament is going to be really successful. I think
Yeah.
it is taking it away from me, because Filament is bigger than me. Like, yes, I own the company. Yes, I'm the CEO and founder and all that kind of stuff. But the brand is bigger than me. This is not a
Yeah.
founder brand. Like yes, I do content on TikTok and silly little like hair knowledge videos and podcasts like this on behalf of the brand. Sure. But ultimately, like to see what Filament as a brand has become now in the social zeitgeist and in the retail space is so awe-inspiring. And I think seeing where it's going to go, like kind of my little baby just growing up and again being bigger than me, like it's really amazing. So I don't know, like, is it going to sell? Is it not going to sell? Is it going to be 2 billion, 1 billion? Who cares, honestly, at the end of the day? But I do think it's going to be really big.
You know what? I love that you said that you're the CEO and founder, and you'll do these type of things because I've worked for CEO founder companies, and the CEO many times should have walked away and let somebody else be the CEO and still could have been the founder, but they don't, and it's hurting the business. I mean, this
Yeah.
is so common. I love the fact that you are that knowledgeable to realize that it's bigger than you in a lot of ways, and it's going to continue to grow. So that says so much about your business acumen, like just how you know how to run this business. So that's
Thank you. Yeah, I'm like a babysitter at this point. I
yeah,
am here to make sure that the child gets fed and doesn't put his finger in a light socket and gets to sleep on time. And if I do that every day, then I'm a successful CEO entrepreneur. This company will continue to grow. And if really honest with you, I started this business because I wanted to hang out in hair salons for most of my day. And I
yeah,
wanted to hang out with hairstylists because if there's any stylists listening to this podcast, y'all are fucking cool people. And I'm obsessed with hairstylists and estheticians. Like, just like it's a fun crowd. So, I've got my CEO duties. Yeah, I was a corporate robot, whatever. I can do my thing. But I can't wait for the day where maybe I can afford to hire a president or right hand to help
yeah.
me run the business because I just want to be in salons doing demos with stylists all day.
I love that. That's like that's amazing. A lot of CEOs don't want to go to they want to just, send their
Yeah.
sales force out and do these things and not be a part of any of that. So they just want to sit there and look at the numbers come in. So that's amazing. So you're not really kind of going off and doing like influencer campaigns at this point or any kind of, I mean, you said you're doing TikToks and stuff, but you're not like hiring a TikToker to go off and do this. So what's that radical position, that shift that you have that's like, why do you not want to do that quite yet? Or if ever?
Okay, so like this is a good question. Oh my God, you're good. Thank you for this because
Oh, thanks.
honestly, like I'm not against TikTok as a platform. Of course, I'm not against Meta as a platform. It's the way the world goes around. I do think more good is done because social media exists than evil, but there is a lot of bad that happens on
Mhm.
social media. And so, I think it's hard to work in that content stream because there are a lot of creators that are disingenuous. There's a lot of creators that say incorrect things. And brands turn the blind eye. There are a lot of creators that are involved in scandals on and off camera that I don't necessarily support or want to align my brand with. There's a lot of
Mm.
creators, that in general, like they don't have good intentions,
Yeah.
and they take advantage of brands. And I understand it's the way the world goes around, and I understand that brands absolutely take advantage and exploit creators. But to me, it's a weird economy and ecosystem that I struggle with, kind of from a moral compass and ethical perspective. And when I look at having a clinically proven product and a medically backed brand and a scientifically backed brand, I have to constantly check, like, who am I going to work with in that space that's going to actually tell my story in a credible and authentic, unique way that also has a moral compass and isn't just being paid to post by my competitor brand the next day.
Yeah.
And so, like, you get that a lot with certain platforms, and you get a lot of erroneous claims and false claims that, like, we as a brand can't control. And the last thing I want is some random TikTok influencer making 20% commission on a sale, which is the business model, saying that filament cures cancer. And the next thing we know, I'm in trouble because it looks like I
Yeah.
paid for that because my brand technically paid that creator 20% commission to sell it, even though I didn't sign up for that.
Yeah.
Like, so it's hard. Like some of these platforms are getting a little bit out of control. So the very long answer to your question, sorry, is that we don't do paid influencer right now because we've been enjoying so much organic wind in our sails, and but we will soon. So
Yeah, and I mean what you said, just the fact that you've put so much time, effort, and money into R&D, and I've seen these TikTokers or social media influencers totally go off the rails about a product, like you said, or they'll talk about a product and the next day, they were arrested for a pro-Trump ad, or like I
yeah,
don't know, just I'm just making
yeah,
that up, whatever it is.
yeah. Where
Uh,
they're selling vacuum cleaners one day, and then it's like Filament the next day, and it's like, how do you control that?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think it's so smart because there's so many brands now that are relying only on influencers, and that's all they think that's the only way they think they can sell their things. But I love it that you're kind of like, look, I've got R&D, I've got these clinical study, like this is what we have, so
Yeah.
take it or
And
leave it.
the other thing too is like I very much care about protecting the stylist community because we are a brand for stylists and professionals. And right now it's look, everyone's backup is up against a wall with prices rising, gas prices. Their clients are coming in less and less because everyone's pocketbook is tight. And stylists particularly are feeling the squeeze with respect to business and where their revenue is going. And we want to try to protect the stylist as much as possible by not having a product that is totally ubiquitous and everywhere. But at the same time, a lot of stylists don't realize, and so again, for my stylists or derms that may be listening to this, like a lot of people don't realize that the awareness that is built through these social platforms or through big retailers like Ulta or Sephora that they're generally scared of is the reason why clients are coming in and asking for treatments like mine.
Yeah.
So it's a very yin and yang kind of relationship that we're all kind of in this to make all ships rise.
Hair is so important for so many people, especially in the LGBTQ plus community. I mean, you think about trans people when they're trying to, grow their hair out or do whatever. Like, do you think about those type of things whenever you're thinking about your products? Just about how important
Yeah,
those
all
type
the
of things are.
time. Yeah, I mean, we're obviously an LGBT owned business, but like most of my team is some level of queer friendly, queer
Yeah.
adjacent part of the rainbow. And whether it's like models we look for, certainly creatives, people that might be filming, behind the camera, behind the scenes stuff and what it takes to produce brand marketing content. I really try to give back to that community because obviously it's the right and good thing to do, and we're so underrepresented in general. But ultimately, like I want their voices into the brand, and I want their POV and their feedback on the product and the process. So, and then we do like donations and donation matching and stuff to organizations that help with people that are maybe a bit less fortunate or part of minority communities. So,
I love
so it's all
that. Do you think that you will, since you know so much about skincare as well, do you think that you would ever go deeper into that?
from a brand perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I mean, first of all, I think when you build a good brand, whatever that means, like
Yeah.
when you build a brand that has a point of view, has a creative difference, understands how to speak to it, you can go anywhere with that brand. So it's not out of the realm of possibilities that we could make skincare products one day, assuming it made sense and our customer was looking for that. We could make scalp skin hybrid products because, of
Mhm.
course, they're the same dermal matrix, right? So we can absolutely get into that world because I do think we have a really strong brand. I think we have a strong brand platform, even though I know Filament itself as a name is more related to hair. I think in most people, it becomes this cultural zeitgeist that lives in their mind that then could do different things. I can tell you for sure we're going to be doing some record breaking things outside of the beauty industry that are going to be coming up that you'll see from us, really exciting, and things that have nothing to do with beauty. So tangential sort of different industries, just because Filament has such a strong association. So I think we could do it for sure.
We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. Okay, now back to the show. There's been other people that have done hair and skincare products, and they've gone on big platforms like QVC or Home Shoppers Network, one of those. Would you ever want to do anything like that? Or is that like,
So I'm dying because literally, like, okay, I've done so many cool things in my life, honestly. Like, I've checked so many bucket listings. You can ask my husband, I swear to God, the one thing I've never done that I've always wanted to do is go on QVC or HSN because like home shopping for me is just such a vibe. Like, I don't know why I'm obsessed with the concept of it, the people who shop, the people who call in. Like, I've just always wanted to be on that stage, live selling, demoing, whatever. Do I think Filament is going to be the vehicle for me to do that? I don't think so. Maybe I'll do like TikTok lives one day or Instagram lives where it'll kind of be this like hybrid social selling sort of model. But I did get a little bit of my fix. There's a guy named Christos who's a famous designer who owned a store called Decades here in LA. He's a designer and stylist, big in the fashion industry, and he has his own home shopping channel where he deals with like ultra high net worth women that are in a private Instagram group, and they buy tens of thousands of dollars of estate jewelry, fashion, skincare from him in this private shopping club. And I got invited to do that. So it was a Zoom call just like this. And we went live. I talked about Filament, talked about the science, and we took orders live. And it was like, and it was so fun because like there was a showrunner, kind of like what you would be. And she was like, we just sold 4. We just sold a package of 6. Like, Susie, I got you, baby. Like, it was like, I don't know. It was like on fire. So yeah, I
have to say, I think you should pursue this, even if it's not with this particular products. But if you do come out with like a skincare line or something, I feel like you have to do a QVC or home shopping network because you have the look, like you're a good looking guy. You have the personality 100%. I think you could be like, Shirley, we're going to take a call from Shirley and tell us about what you bought today.
Yes. Snaps for Shirley. I love Shirley out there. And that's the thing that I love about being in salon, because like I was in Boise, Idaho. I say Idaho, Iowa. I combine it. I was in Boise, Idaho last week, and I was in the most random salons talking to Shirley, like, who is there getting her hair done and connecting on a human level with, honestly, the average American that's out there, not the coastal elite that we normally deal with here in LA and New York in our salons. It's just so refreshing and nice. And like, I don't know. You're right. I need to do that.
I think it's more than a bucket list or a dream. I think it's something that you have to make sure that happens. I mean, I just want to kind of go back and just kind of just let the people listening know just like what your background is, because it's so impressive. So, you worked at, L'Oreal, you worked at Kiehl's, Baxter, California. You also are a Yale graduate.
I am. Chinese language on earth.
Yeah. So do you know Chinese well?
I do. I'm fluent in Mandarin, reading,
that
writing,
is amazing. That is an amazing feat on its own. Like if you didn't do anything else, you just told me that, I would have been impressed. So.
It is wild because I've lived in China twice, including after I graduated from Yale undergrad, and I've worked there, and I have owned businesses in my past that like have dealt with manufacturing in China and stuff. So I've always kept my language skills up. As a kid, I grew up in Japan as a small child. So I had like first language acquisition outside of English, which really helped me kind of like, I guess, learn things quickly. But I just got obsessed with Chinese in college, and I studied abroad, and I did a Princeton degree in Chinese as well. And I'm just like, I don't know why I'm good at it. Like some people are good at like math or physics. I'm just like really good at languages. And so I just leaned in and I had a lot of fun with that.
Okay. So I have to ask you what your skincare routine is. You have amazing skin. So what is your skincare routine? Like, what are you using?
Yeah. Well, because I'm an esthetician, I do chemical skin resurfacing on myself. And so I basically like my thing is, and this is what I tell like my clients that I service as well, like put your skin on a diet, which means like, if I'm your personal trainer as an esthetician, I'm going to work you out when you come to me. I am going to manage the workout schedule and the weights and all that kind of stuff. And you are going to go home and rest and stretch and eat well and sleep well in preparation for you to come back to the gym with me to work you out. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of how I think about it, right? So I do all the hard work. I do hardcore chemical skin resurfacing. And put people on a program, and then I send them home with products that are basic product routines that build the skin barrier and make sure to repair the lipid barrier, maybe even some tranexamic acid based stuff that prevents from melanin overproduction and what's called PIH. So, I'm a little bit of a weirdo because I'm not the average person that's like, oh, go to CVS and like buy this product. I mean, of
Yes.
course I can tell you great vitamin C serums or whatever, but for me, I just peel the shit out of my face and then recover it.
Okay. Well, it's working, so good for you.
No Botox.
Oh, no Botox.
No, I've never had Botox in my life.
Wow, good for you.
Yeah.
I want to just ask a few more questions to you. What do you do when you're not doing all this stuff? Like, what do you think is fun to do? Like, what's fun in your life? Like, what do you and your husband might do that, or what do you do by yourself that's fun?
I mean, watching Golden Girls and RuPaul's Drag Race, like I'm just such a queen like that. Honestly, like if I get like 2 seconds to just decompress, no, so I'm a creative person. I'm a creative thinker, but I'm also a creative. Like I'm really inspired by art, the art industry,
Mm-hmm.
the trade of art, the commerce of art, but then also seeing art and experiencing art. So I love to go to museums. I love to go to galleries. I do art myself. It does not mean I'm good at it, but I love painting. I love doing things with my hands, whether it's like a sculpture or something like that. So I try to do as much kind of that creative outlet as possible. I love yoga. So I don't know. It's kind
Yeah.
of basic. Like I don't have any hours in my day to do anything.
Yeah. I mean, I love it. I'm not good at painting either, but I think like right around COVID, I started painting, and then I started putting them on Facebook, and my friends wanted like, oh, I want that. So I would send it to them. I sent out 49 paintings in the like big canvases too to 49 friends. Like some
Oh
of them are
my
like
God.
high school friends that I haven't seen in, 30 or however long it's been. But I would like mail them to these people because they wanted them. And then my friend's like, oh, why don't you just put them on Etsy? So I put them on Etsy, but then it was like, it was too much because
Yeah.
they're really not that good. They're like
Fair.
it's its own thing, but, and I'm like,
Okay.
I don't have time to go to the UPS store. Like I have a job and stuff.
Right.
So
Right.
I can't
Well,
like
you
go to the
should maybe
UPS.
create like an Instagram profile for it. I want to see the receipts. I'd love to see your work.
Oh yeah, no, they're not really, they're not that good.
Okay.
And it's like, I own all this great paint and I have all these canvases because my top floor of my house is my podcast studio and then this other loft area. And I have all these paints. I feel like they're going to dry out. So I feel like I either need to start painting again or give them to an artist that would appreciate them. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Creative expression is important. Like I think a lot of people write themselves off as like, oh, I'm not creative or whatever. But I feel like the mind body connection of doing something creative is very important, which is why I like the mind body connection of yoga from a
yeah.
meditation to action perspective. But just doodle. Who cares you don't
Yeah.
have to show anyone. Like it can be your secret notebook. Just, get out there in nature and just draw stuff or write poetry, write haikus. Like who cares?
Yeah, exactly. How was your husband? Was he very supportive of all of this whenever you're like, I'm going to do this new company,
Yeah,
Filament?
because he knows I'm batshit crazy. Like he's been with me for long enough to know that I'm a psycho, and also that like I dance to the beat of my own drum. I do my own thing, and
Yeah.
I'm very strong-willed in a way. I guess this is again like Sagittarius. I'm going to sound very like woo LA, whatever. But you guys know Sagittarians, like we're like big Jupiter planet, high gravitational pull, high intellect. We're going. When this
Yeah.
train is leaving the station, if you're coming with us, you can be one of our moons and rotate, or you're going to be interplanetary, on another level, and you're just going to miss this train. So for me, once I decide I'm going to do something, I do it, I go all out with it. And he is like the opposite of me in a lot of ways, which is amazing, but like so supportive, so grounded. He's an architect, so he's like lives in the world of reality.
Yeah.
So it's nice.
Well, thank you so much for being on. Like I said, I was so excited whenever I was reached out to say, "Hey, would you want to interview this guy, Nathan?" I'm like, "Hell yes, I would." Like he's exactly this is all the stuff I love to talk about. So, I will put a link to your website into the description of this video or podcast. Whoever is listening, and I don't know if you want me to put your Instagram and all that in there, but I'll put all that in there as well.
Cool.
And people can reach out to you. Again, I think what you have done with this hair care product is beyond what other people are doing or what other companies are doing, because to put that much energy and money and investment and time into R&D, coming from a pharmaceutical world, I know all that takes a long
Thank
time,
you.
and it's not something you can just you do in a few months. You're like, okay, now we're ready. So
Yeah.
I mean, I appreciate it, and this is something I think that people would want to put in their hair, and they know what they're going to get instead of, because some of these things you buy, you're like, is my hair going to fall out, or is it
Right.
going to dry it out and stuff? And this, you put the research in, which I think says a lot. So that's amazing.
Thank you. The best is yet to come.
Okay, I can't wait to hear what this 2027 announcement is whenever you come back and tell me. So,
Oh my God. And
maybe you
28,
can
you already
announce.
have 28 planned. So
Oh, okay. So you're really okay. I would like to have first exclusive rights also to hear this, to be the
we're
first
doing
to
a
break the
remix.
news.
We're doing a part 2 to this podcast for sure.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on, Nathan. It's a pleasure. Again, if you anybody is, I'm sure a lot of people listening to the show are into hair and skincare like I am. And if you are, check out the website and send me a DM and let me know once you buy the product, what you think about it. And thanks everybody for listening, and thanks for being on, Nathan.
Thank you so much.